This is the last week of the first month of 2019, and I have finally decided that it's time to put out another podcast. So this is going to be episode 144 of Ron's Update. Well, here we are, first podcast of 2019, another slacker podcast. I won't go into that. I've given up. Okay. I got some different goals this year, starting 2019. Even though I'm a geezer, I'd like to run a little faster than I've been running in the past year or two here. And that's basically due to my slackness of training. Even though I've done my workouts, I haven't put the effort in them that I should have been, like pushing when I should be pushing. I've just kind of done the time instead of actually trained like I should have. So it shows. And I'm going to change that and actually put some effort into these training sessions that I do. Second of all, I'm going to start doing shorter races, trail races this year, at least this winter and spring. I'm planning on doing some short trail races. I think I've got 3 scheduled so far, one each month starting this coming month. I think the longest one's only like 4.3 miles or something. So they're not long. They're in the 5K and a little longer range, between 5K and 5 miles, basically. And, of course, my ongoing goal that I never, ever meet is be more consistent with this podcast and actually have more content that's worthwhile. But I don't know. You know how that goes. I just kind of do my thing. So far, this is the end of January. So it's been over a month since I've done this podcast. So this month, I started out the month. First 2 days, basically, I rode my bike trainer. I didn't even run. And I have probably put in, out of today's the 30th, I've probably run or cycled or walked, whatever, probably 18 of those days out of 30. So I haven't been as consistent as I really want to be. Basically, I've missed my cross-training days if I've missed one, so it's not as bad as it looks, even though I would be doing much better if I did my cross-training. So I guess one of my other goals here is to be consistent, do something every day, regardless, if it's just going out for a walk. Oh, let's see. This last week, Sunday afternoon, I went and ran 5 miles. I wasn't really in the mood. I went down to Lilburn Park and I decided, well, what I'm going to do is just get out of the car and start running, and if I get in a mile, if I get in 2 miles, whatever, then that's good, right? But once I got going, I did my whole workout, which that's the thing. You got to get outside and do it, right? And so I did, and then when I finished, I was going, why do I procrastinate about doing these workouts? I mean, once I get going, I'm into it, you know? And like yesterday, I didn't wait as long. I think I went out about 3:30 maybe. I had a hill workout planned, and Lilburn Park's got a decent hill over on one side, so I do a little run out and then come back and do the drills and all that, and then I do the hill. And of course, overall pace is slow because like the first 5 minutes you're walking to warm up. Then have 10 minutes of a slow jog, run, walk. And then have 5 minutes of doing like acceleration gliders. And then you walk for 5 more minutes. And then you run your hills. Like yesterday I had 8 hills I ran. And then once you've done 8 hills, then you do a cool down run of whatever it turns out to be, back to where you started. And I usually do like a 15-30 on that. Run 15 seconds and walk 30 seconds. So it's slow too. So my overall pace for the whole workout was like 15 something because of all the walking. But on the hill part, going up the hill, and it's a fairly decent hill, was in the 10-minute range, I guess, 10 to 11-minute range. It was slower than last week. I only had to do 6 last week, and I think I was in the 9-minute range, and for some reason yesterday I was in the 10-minute range. I don't know, maybe I was tired, or even though my HRV showed I was in shape to do it, or maybe I just wasn't in the mood. I don't know. But anyway, I got the workout in, and once I get a workout in, I'm fired up, wow, why did I procrastinate about these things? But that's the way my training goes. So today is a cross-training day, and I'm going to either do my bike trainer or go out and do a short cadence drill workout. I might do both if I get inspired. The sun's out, even though it's in the 20s. It just depends on, I don't know what the wind's blowing, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, the rest of the podcast, I've got a couple of things. One of them is a little bit about HRV, and then at the end, I got a little update on EF Education First Cycling. Okay, this next subject I'm going to go over is heart rate variability. And that heart rate variability analyzes the precise timing between individual heartbeats. And it's controlled by your parasympathetic branch of your nervous system, and that branch controls or handles rest, digestion, and recovery. So HRV is a quicker way and more sensitive way to get to your current state of rest and recovery, instead of just reading your heart rate in the morning. And the best time of day is in the morning, like when you would normally wake up and do your regular heart rate each day. But you do it in setting up or standing. And it only takes about a minute to do that. And I use the app on my iPhone called iThelete. And a Wahoo Ticker heart strap. And it only takes a minute to take the reading, and it'll give you your heart rate, and it'll also give you a number. Like this morning, I think my number was 60, and my heart rate was like 47, and the number was in green. Well, that means you can train as intense as you want to, basically. If you have an intense workout planned, you can go for it. But it has, like, if that number is amber, it means you can do the workout, but don't do it as intense as you'd planned on doing it. But you go ahead and do your workout. And if it's red, that means you ought to rest or at least do an easy cross-training day. So I think overall, it's a good way to keep track of whether you ought to be able to, what kind of workout you ought to be doing. It doesn't say don't do a workout. Like if it's amber, it doesn't mean don't do a workout that day. It just means go ahead and do your workout and know that you haven't really recovered as good as you should have from your previous one. Does that make sense? And if you want more information, you can go like on the Training Peaks website. I think they've got information about HRV. Plus, Ithelite. I wish I could spell it. Let me look it up. Hold on a minute. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Ithelite. ITHLETE. So I think they've got a website, and you can go on there and get all the information you want. But the app has a pretty good thing, because on the menu on the app, it's got getting started, taking a reading, their dashboard, setting alarms, settings, syncing data, troubleshooting, etc. And it tells you how to pair your heart rate strap and all that stuff. So it's a good app to use, even though I've been using it wrong by laying in bed and taking my heart rate reading. I listened to a little like podcast type thing about how to use it, and it said the best way to do it is either set up on the edge of your bed in the morning or stand up to activate your parasympathetic system where it takes a good reading. Okay, that's it. As you may or may not know, I'm a fan of the EF Education First Pro Cycling Team. That's actually Jonathan Vaughters's Slipstream organization, and I've been a follower of theirs for years, I guess. But anyway, I just got an email from them about their first victory of the year. Let me read it to you. Dan McClay delivered the first victory of the season for EF Education First Pro Cycling Team on the opening stage of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. The 6-day Australian stage race began with 22 laps around the Phillips Island Moto GP circuit. McClay held off Christopher Halverson, Team Sky, and I can't even pronounce these names. Wouter Vipet Evo Pro to climb to the first step of the podium. With the stage win came the yellow race leader's jersey. I can't even read it right. It says, "I was up today," said McClay. "I didn't get much personally out of Down Under, so I had the bit between my teeth coming here. I was ready for it. It's really great to get a win under the belt so early," McClay said. "It's good for my confidence going forward. It's also about time I won something." Team founder Jonathan Vaughters echoed McClay's sentiment. "The first win just means that we're starting to emerge from a few years of chaos. It takes a while to build a team. Now that we have a solid foundation under us, we can start to build." You may remember a year or two ago, they almost went out of existence, and they started a GoFundMe page and raised quite a bit of money, but it wasn't enough to fund the team, but it was enough to get EF Education first attention and realize that there were a whole lot of fans that backed this team. So that's how I believe they ended up being the main sponsor. And I believe now they've bought into the team financially, I mean, as far as ownership. So hopefully they'll be with them a long time. Well, that's my update on EF Education first. Well, it took a while, but I finally got my first podcast of 2019 out, so I feel a lot better now. Hopefully I can be consistent, but I wouldn't bet on it. So I'll see you next time, and happy running, cycling, walking, swimming, whatever you do. See ya.
Hey, thanks for listening to today's podcast. We'll be here next time. Keep the emails coming in and be sure to subscribe.